कोडिंग एंड ऑल कैन बी ऑटोमेटेड।
Yes.
बड़े सारे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स को बुरा लग जाएगा यार। हम बात करते हैं कि चैट जीपीटी को पूरे इंटरनेट के डेटा पे ट्रेन कर दिया, वो कैसे होता है?
So all these different websites are scraped, उनका डेटा इकट्ठा करते हैं and it's terabytes and petabytes of data.
सैम ऑल्टमैन who's the CEO of OpenAI, वो जब इंडिया आया था उसने ये बात बोली थी कि इंडिया won't be able to train any model and you just forget about it.
To say that India wouldn't want to do that or cannot do that, I don't think that's the case.
If someone wants to enter as a research scientist या an applied scientist, what key advice do you have? दोस्तों स्वागत है आपका अनचार्टेड के एक नए एपिसोड में। मेरा नाम है सानिध्य खजूरिया। हमारे आज के गेस्ट का नाम है अनुभव श्रीमल। अनुभव is an applied scientist at Amazon who has been working in the industry for quite a lot of years. हम लोगों ने बात करी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में which is in the news almost every day. We also talked about कि एक AI मॉडल एक्चुअली काम कैसे करता है, हाउ डज इट जनरेट रिस्पॉन्स विच आर सो ह्यूमन, किस तरह से AI का लैंडस्केप इवॉल्व हो रहा है, एंड इज AI जस्ट अनदर टेक बबल लाइक बिटकॉइन और Web3 और अदर टेक्नोलॉजीज, यहाँ इसमें एक्चुअली सब्सटेंस है. If you are a tech enthusiast or someone who is actually very passionate about this specific sector, I think you'll surely love the episode. Also, we are now officially on Spotify, so you can stream our episodes there also. The episode with Anubhav begins in 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, Anubhav, for taking out time.
Thanks for having me.
तो मैं ये बोलूँगा कि चैट जीपीटी के बाद अभी जो रिसेंटली मॉडल जो बहुत ज़्यादा न्यूज़ में आया, आई थिंक दैट इज डीप सीक. ऐसा क्या है डीप सीक में कि लोग पागल हो गए उसके पीछे?
Yeah. DeepSeek, so ChatGPT is created by OpenAI, और that is only accessible through their website or through their API. तो अगर आपको ChatGPT यूज़ करना है, या तो आप chat.com पे जाएंगे, वहाँ पे you will write your prompts, you will converse with it, and वो आपका आउटपुट देगा. या फिर you integrate it with an API in which आप अपना डेटा सेंड करेंगे and their models which are hosted on their servers will give back a response. Now इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? That you don't have the model weights with you. You don't have the control on what you can do out of it apart from what OpenAI is giving you. तो इसमें restrictions कहाँ पे आते हैं कि let's say if I want to fine tune my model, कि अगर कोई एक large language model है, let's say ChatGPT, and it is not working well for my particular use case, तो मैं उस मॉडल को फाइन ट्यून भी नहीं कर सकता. DeepSeek on the other hand is given by DeepSeek R1 basically. That's where this all hype came in. So DeepSeek R1 model is given by this company named DeepSeek from China.
अच्छा.
What's different from their perspective is that they have open sourced their model weights. They have also released the
model weights क्या होते हैं? Like what are model weights?
So in terms of large language models, basically how it happens is you have a brain. Think of it like a brain. Now, initially, when you initialize that brain, it's completely empty or it doesn't know about what the world is.
खाली है, fresh brain है.
Exactly. Now, what you do as part of training is कि आप उसको data दिखाते हो, पूरे इंटरनेट का data आप उसमें feed करते हो. You try to train it on that. So it learns to mimic the human behavior from this piece of text.
how feasible is it? जैसे हम बात करते हैं कि चैट जीपीटी को पूरे इंटरनेट के डेटा पे ट्रेन कर दिया. How exactly it happens? Like how do you gather all the data? वो कैसे होता है?
So there are plenty of data sets collected by different organizations. So there is Common Crawl, there is Wikipedia data set. There are much more like GitHub, अपना Reddit हो गया. So all these different websites are scraped, उनका data इकट्ठा करते हैं, and it's terabytes and petabytes of data text के अंदर that is available, and that is what these companies are actually using. It's a lot of effort. It's a humongous effort. And not everybody can scrape this data, train on this data. It's not like you just dump the data and उसके अंदर कई सारी techniques होती हैं to improve on it. And that is where these companies are investing billions of dollars in training these models, and they give that to you as access. So coming back to DeepSeek R1, so basically this Chinese company released DeepSeek R1. Now the good thing about DeepSeek R1 is it's an open source model. So you have this model weights or the brain of the model with you. So if you have the model weights with you, now you can fine tune the model. तुम उसको अपना कुछ नया डेटा जो smaller data set है, you don't have the internet data set, but you have the model which has learned from it, and now you can fine tune it to your particular use case. Even if OpenAI does not give you the access. So for example, अगर उसको कोई political views पे या फिर कोई और restrictions होंगे that OpenAI wants for it to not answer, That's where DeepSeek will actually outshine because you can configure it to the way you want it to be.
अपने आउटकम के हिसाब से चेंज कर सकते हो.
Right. The other aspect to why DeepSeek is popular is like OpenAI and all these, क्योंकि एक क्लोज सोर्स मॉडल है, वी डोंट नो कि इन्होंने कैसे इस चीज़ को ट्रेन किया है. एक हाई लेवल पे सबको आइडिया है कि इंटरनेट का डेटा लिया, उससे फाइन ट्यून किया, देन उसके ऊपर उन्होंने कुछ रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग ट्रेनिंग टेक्निक्स लगाई जिससे कि इट इम्प्रूव्ड ओवर टाइम. But we don't know the specifics. So if a competitor or anybody in general wants to replicate these things, they cannot do that. So that is where DeepSeek also released a paper along with it. Okay, how did they go about training this model, DeepSeek R1, which is as good as this closed source model from OpenAI, and उनके जो results हैं, the benchmarks that they ran on, it's doing fabulously well, equal
Does
to.
it actually perform better या फिर
It's better in many cases. On many benchmarks, it is also better than OpenAI models.
why did they open source it? Was it kind of a strategic move कि ताकि OpenAI के पास कोई moat in a way ना हो?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and again, we don't know. But one thing is for sure, that open source is always welcomed across the community, because then there is no monopoly which can continue leveraging it and other people are not learning from it. So that is where DeepSeek ने जो initiative लिया है, that has opened avenues जहाँ पे अब लोग अपने खुद के models train कर पा रहे हैं using these techniques.
Let's also talk about कि कितनी actual पैसे लगते हैं. What is the total investment in actually training a model?
Yeah.
Because एक I think Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, वो जब इंडिया आया था उसने ये बात बोली थी कि India won't be able to train any model and you just forget about it. Is it really that expensive? कितने resources लगते हैं?
It is, like I said, so if you want to train, it's a step-wise process. So first is internet data पे learn करना. That's the biggest process जहाँ पे most of the money invest होता है, क्योंकि there is a petabytes of data. You are training it on a model which is also billion trillion parametered models. And then इसको ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद में which itself can take a month, more than a month also.
एक महीने तक वो ट्रेन होता रहेगा.
More than that also. So there are these big models which are being trained on this internet data, तो काफ़ी time लगता है. Then after that you have to actually collect good quality data जिसके ऊपर chat interface type का आप उसको ट्रेनिंग दे सकते हो. Because the pre-training, it only helps the model in understanding text completion. कि अगर कोई sentence दिया है उसको आगे कैसे continue करना है. With the next stage of fine tuning is where you tell it how to chat. So if I'm asking you a question, so just to give you an example, if I say the tallest mountain in the highest mountain in the world is Mount Everest, then the next sentence from this base model would be the highest building in the world is Eiffel Tower. So it is just trying to complete as a list. Whereas question answering में क्या होता है, what is the top model of the world, तो उसमें Mount Everest वो answer देगा. In this case it would generate more questions. What is the tallest building in the world? ऐसे list of questions बनाएगा. So you want a chat interface, and then you also fine tune it further for this reasoning वाला चीज़ या all those things. So it's very costly. To say that India wouldn't want to do that or cannot do that, I don't think that's the case. India can do it. It's just that what are the interests, where are we pursuing, and then there are many different startups also which are coming in, which are doing multilingual fine tuning and training for large language models in India also, who are doing a fabulous job at it.
I read about this news lately. I think you must have also read about it, about this model called Grok, जो कि I think it's kind of a feature which is enabled on Twitter that you can ask questions to it और वो respond करता है. तो उसको लेकर के एक डिबेट आई थिंक जो चल रही है न्यूज में, दैट इट्स गॉन काइंड ऑफ रोग ऑन इंटरनेट. वो किसी भी तरह की बातें कर रहा है, लाइक इट डज नॉट हैव एनी फिल्टर. इट विल आल्सो टॉक अबाउट पॉलिटिकल थिंग्स. और ट्विटर में आपको पता है ये हाउ कैन दिस वर्क आउट. तो ऐसा क्या होता है मॉडल्स में, लेट्स से इन समथिंग लाइक चैट जीपीटी, कि things like this does not happen? Like how do they control ki model will not speak this?
Right. So once you have that internet trained wala model, right, that's where the second stage comes in, which is the fine tuning stage. Now in the fine tuning stage, that is where जो भी कंपनी उस मॉडल को ट्रेन कर रही है, दे एक्चुअली कलेक्ट द राइट काइंड ऑफ डेटा, गुड क्वालिटी डेटा. तो OpenAI इस केस में क्या करता है, दे ऑल्सो हैव ह्यूमंस इन द लूप, जहाँ पे जो चैट कॉन्वर्जेशन वाला डेटा है, लेट्स से अगर यूज़र उसमें कोई क्वेश्चन रखता है विच इज नॉट पॉलिटिकली गुड, like write a funny joke about Donald Trump. Now that is something OpenAI does not want the model to complete. तो उसके ऊपर as a response they will write in the answer कि I do not support or encourage writing jokes about political figures or popular figures. So because ये data set उन्होंने training के लिए बनाया है और इसके ऊपर अब वो fine tune कर रहे हैं, that is where the model learns कि कहाँ पे हमारे को किस टाइप का response देना है.
बट ऐसे तो बहुत तरह के यूज केसेस होंगे ना, ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें होंगी. हाउ डू यू एक्चुअली डू इट एवरी टाइम?
Yeah, so this data, when you use this kind of a data, ये हम एक reward model train करने में करते हैं. So
अच्छा, what is the reward model?
yeah, so reward model, think of it like if I am a human and you ask me ki write a joke on Donald Trump, is this a good is this something that I should answer or not? As a person I would say nahi, iske upar nahi bolna chahiye, right? So good and bad. Similarly, if I say what is 2 times 3 and you say 8, now that's a bad thing because it's 6 actually, right? The answer is 6. तो होता ये है कि there are 10,000, 20,000 conversations, good quality conversations that these guys collect through auditors, through manual workers, and then from there they create a reward model. Reward model का job होता है looking at these conversations, they mark it as a good conversation or a bad conversation, so they give a rating to it. तो अब reward model train करने से क्या हुआ, इंस्टेड ऑफ कीपिंग अ ह्यूमन इन द लूप जो कि ये रिवॉर्ड देगा कि चैट जीपीटी ने अच्छा आंसर किया या नहीं किया, दे यूज दिस मॉडल टू एक्चुअली गिव अ रेटिंग टू इट. सो नाउ ड्यूरिंग द सेकेंड स्टेज ऑफ फाइन ट्यूनिंग, कोई भी अगर क्वेश्चन आता है उस पर जो मॉडल है वो एक आउटपुट जनरेट करता है, उस आउटपुट को ये रिवॉर्ड मॉडल रेटिंग देता है. इज दिस अ गुड आउटपुट, गुड आंसर और नॉट टू दैट क्वेश्चन. इफ इट इज अ गुड क्वेश्चन, गुड आंसर, then that gets rewarded much better. अगर बेकार है तो उसके ऊपर accordingly model को fine tune किया जाता है. That is where you are able to extrapolate and increase the data set and fine tune for much larger size of things because you can do it in parallel. You don't have humans in the loop.
तो आप उसको automate कर
Yeah,
दोगे
you can
चीज़ों को.
explore and scale up big, जिसमें 100,000 questions भी होंगे, millions of questions भी होंगे, तो भी you can do it through the reward model. Human को बोलोगे 100 answers को rate करने के लिए, that's not possible. So that's where you are able to scale. So coming back to your question कि Grok क्यों different है, so that's where OpenAI has trained a reward model through these human values. के values क्या हैं? Don't disrespect, don't lie about things, don't abuse about anything. तो इन प्रिंसिपल्स के ऊपर ऑडिटर्स ने रेटिंग करी, उन्होंने एक रिवॉर्ड मॉडल ट्रेन किया और उस रिवॉर्ड मॉडल को यूज करके दे ट्रेन GPT-4o एंड अदर थिंग्स. दैट इज वेयर इट रिजेक्ट्स सच क्वेरीज. But on the other hand, the Grok model, which is from Elon Musk or ex-Twitter, they wanted to have fun with it. So they went about not restricting it on any of these things. क्योंकि इंटरनेट पे बहुत सारा डेटा है, तो सब अच्छा भी है और बुरा भी है वहाँ पे. So if you just train the base model without any filters, वहाँ पे कुछ चीज़ें आपको मिलेंगी. Then fine tuning के टाइम पे भी, so if you go on the Grok model app, you actually have different personas. So the persona that you're talking about is called unhinged. तो unhinged वाला अगर mode enable करोगे, then it would be like unrestricted, कुछ भी चीज़ों पे कैसे भी बात करेगा. Then there is a different mode also which is more of a seducing kind of mode जिसमें आपसे वो उस तरीके से romantically बात करेगा, and those are the different modes that they have trained on. So it's all about the underlying data, how they're fine tuning it. जैसे DeepSeek R1 है, because it's a China based model. If you go about asking it about any Chinese political affairs, like Xi Jinping के ऊपर अगर कुछ बोलने के लिए बोलोगे या कुछ भी ऐसा, that's where it will straight away try to reject those outputs because they have fine-tuned that model in that way. So yeah, it's all about the underlying fine-tuning and how you go about it.
और as an applied scientist और as a regular user, आप कुछ models use करते हो on a day-to-day basis या models या AI tools, let's say?
Yeah, so it largely depends on the objective. So for me as a programmer, right, there could be tools like जैसे चैट जीपीटी हो गया, क्लॉड हो गया, these we used to write code itself. So if I want to quickly brainstorm on something, write a code, then I can ask these models and वो कुछ code लिख के देते हैं. It's a very good base starter. So you can quickly get started on your project. Let's say I want to create some demo, UI, website बनाना है, and I'm not as brushed off on कैसे वेबसाइट एलिमेंट्स बनाते हैं, HTML कोड लिखते हैं, आई कैन जस्ट आस्क ChatGPT और Claude and it will give me a very beautiful UI with perfectly written code, and I can start off from there. So it actually saves a lot of time for me to go about learning it. Then there are also like documentation writing stuff like that where you can leverage these models and that will improve it. um, and I cannot tell the other details where we use it internally as Amazon, but yeah, there are generative AI has opened avenues for everything from LLM agents to other things, and that is where everybody is working across the globe. So yeah.
क्योंकि हम इतनी बात कर ही रहे हैं अबाउट मॉडल्स एंड ऑल, लेट्स टेक सम टाइम टू गो थ्रू कि हाउ डज इट एक्चुअली जनरेट अ रिस्पॉन्स. बिकॉज मैंने कहीं पर आई थिंक पढ़ा था दैट इवन टॉप रिसर्चर्स कैनॉट ट्रूली आर्टिकुलेट कि एक मॉडल कैसे परफॉर्म करता है, वो रिस्पॉन्स कैसे दे रहा है,
Right.
इतना इंटरेस्टिंग रिस्पॉन्स. बट क्या एक हाई लेवल प्रोसेस है कि हाउ इट वर्क्स?
Yeah, so because why they say that is क्योंकि ये एक ब्लैक बॉक्स मॉडल है. तो जैसे कि अगर ह्यूमन ब्रेन है, उसके अंदर न्यूरॉन्स होते हैं एंड न्यूरॉन्स एक दूसरे से कनेक्टेड होते हैं. नाउ इफ़ यू आस्क एंड से कि मैं कैसे जानता हूँ कि ये सानिध्य है मेरे सामने, सो उसके लिए कुछ ब्रेन के अंदर विजुअल कॉर्टेक्स होता है जहाँ पे जाके न्यूरॉन्स एक्टिवेट होते हैं एंड आई रजिस्टर योर फेस समहाउ एंड दैट्स हाउ आई एम एबल टू से दैट यू आर सानिध्य. सो while I know some region of my brain जहाँ पे वो काम कर रहा होगा, but I cannot exactly pinpoint कि इस न्यूरॉन की वजह से I know सानिध्य या फिर ये एज कनेक्शंस हैं मेरे ब्रेन में
इट्स टू कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर दैट.
एग्जैक्टली. तो सिमिलरली जैसे ये मॉडल्स जो हैं, दीज आर ऑल्सो आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स. यहाँ पे न्यूरॉन्स की जगह हमारे पास में आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरॉन्स होते हैं विच आर सिलिकॉन बेस्ड, जिसके अंदर मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशंस हो रहे हैं. दीज आर वेरी सिंपलिस्टिक मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशंस इन ईच न्यूरॉन, बट यू हैव बिलियंस एंड ट्रिलियंस ऑफ दीज neurons inside a large language model. तो होता यह है कि when you are feeding this data, you actually try to predict the next word every time. So अगर मैं बोलता हूँ the sun rises from, the next word predictable is east, right? The sun rises from east. So ये वाली चीज़ जब मैंने ये सेंटेंस दिया मॉडल के अंदर and I ask it to predict the next token, then it would give मल्टीपल डिफरेंट प्रेडिक्शंस. तो वोकेबलरी में उसके पास में लेट्स से 30,000 वर्ड्स हैं. 30,000 वर्ड्स में से इट विल गिव लेट्स से प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ईस्ट एट 55%, वेस्ट एट 40, रिमेनिंग 45% लेट्स से. तो अब इसके अंदर हुआ क्या कि इफ द मॉडल प्रेडिक्शंस आर नॉट एज गुड, यू कैन एक्चुअली बैक ट्रैक इट. तो जैसे एक टीचर स्टूडेंट को सिखाता है कि ईस्ट आना चाहिए था, यहाँ पे ईस्ट बोलना है, तो वही चीज़ हम मॉडल वेट्स के अंदर उसको ट्रेनिंग करते हैं. दिस इज कॉल्ड समथिंग कॉल्ड एज ग्रेडियंट डिसेंट. सो यूजिंग दिस एल्गोरिथम ग्रेडियंट डिसेंट, जो मॉडल वेट्स इनिशियली रैंडमाइज थे, नाउ वी एक्चुअली बैक प्रोपोगेट इनटू इट एंड बेसिकली हम उसको ऑप्टिमाइज करते हैं सच दैट इट लर्न्स इट इन दिस मॉडल वेट्स. सो दैट इज वेयर इट इज हार्ड टू इन्फर कि वो ईस्ट आया तो कैसे आया प्रिडिक्शन में, बिकॉज देयर आर बिलियंस ऑफ मॉडल वेट्स, सब कुछ मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशन करके फाइनल एक आउटपुट ला रहे हैं. बट सब सर्टन न्यूरॉन्स गेट हाईली एक्टिवेटेड, तो उसकी वजह से कुछ इन्फ्रेंसेस कर पाते हैं साइंटिस्ट, बट नॉट एग्जैक्टली अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि क्या हो रहा है. बट बेसिकली फॉर एवरी गिवन सेंटेंस व्हेन यू हैव प्रेडिक्टेड ईस्ट, अब ईस्ट भी आपके इनपुट में आ गया है. नाउ यू गो अबाउट प्रेडिक्टिंग द नेक्स्ट वर्ड दैट इज पॉसिबल. तो मैं ईस्ट के बाद में हो सकता है डॉट आ जाए या फिर कुछ और आ जाए, एंड दैट्स हाउ दीज लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल्स वर्क.
तो आप बोल रहे हो वो हर बार काइंड ऑफ अगला वर्ड प्रिडिक्ट कर रहा है अपनी वोकैबुलरी में से. तो वोकैबुलरी में से वो हर वर्ड को काइंड ऑफ प्रोबेबिलिटी दे देता है कि ये 90% यही वर्ड आएगा. तो इट पुट्स दैट वर्ड एंड दैट्स हाउ इट ऑपरेट्स.
यस.
और एक चीज उस चीज के बारे में बात होती है ना, लाइक समथिंग लाइक कॉन्टेक्स्ट मेमोरी या इतने आई थिंक टोकन्स या कुछ बोलते हैं, वो क्या है वो?
राइट. सो क्योंकि मैंने बोला कि नाउ इंग्लिश वोकैबुलरी में देखते हैं या कहीं भी देखते हैं, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सिर्फ 30,000 वर्ड्स हैं. तो हाउ डू यू इनकॉर्पोरेट एवरीथिंग इनसाइड अ लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल्स वोकैबुलरी? तो उसके लिए क्या करते हैं, वी एक्चुअली ब्रेक इट डाउन इनटू स्मॉलर टोकन्स. तो टोकन्स कैसे समझाएं, जैसे अल्फाबेट्स हैं ABCD अप टू Z. नाउ इन अल्फाबेट्स की मदद से आई कैन मेक एनी इंग्लिश वर्ड, राइट? तो दीज आर माई लेट्स से टोकन्स ABCD. तो दिस इज द स्मॉलेस्ट लेवल ऑफ सब टोकन्स जो कि बन सकते हैं. But then there could be further bigger tokens also. For example, ING. तो अब eating, drinking, सब में ING वो आखिरी में आता है. तो this is a very commonly occurring token. that is where it is better to have it in your vocabulary. तो
अच्छा.
होता क्या है कि we try to find the most common occurring patterns inside the data set और vocabulary, and उसके अंदर से जो most common patterns हैं उनको हम vocabulary में रखते हैं, and that becomes the model vocabulary. तो जैसे कि for example I am fasting today, तो अब वो जो fasting है that actually gets broken down into two words, FAST और ING. तो मॉडल जब हर टाइम स्टैम्प पे प्रेडिक्ट कर रहा है एक सेंटेंस को देखने के बाद में, इट इज प्रेडिक्टिंग वन ऑफ दोज टोकन्स. तो फास्ट पहले प्रेडिक्ट करेगा, फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम पे ING प्रेडिक्ट करेगा. तो इन 2 स्टेप्स.
सो इट्स लाइक कि मॉडल की लैंग्वेज अलग है, उसकी अलग भाषा है, वो अब टोकन्स में ऑपरेट करता है.
राइट, इट अंडरस्टैंड्स इन टोकन्स. सो इन टोकन्स को भी आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू मच डिटेल, बट बेसिकली इनकी एक एम्बेडिंग होती है हर एक टोकन की, एंड फ्रॉम दोज एम्बेडिंग्स दोज मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस हैपन. बट essentially yes, so this is the vocabulary size उन vocabulary के around. So अब there could be Japanese characters, there could be Spanish characters जो कि special characters हैं, वो सब vocabulary के अंदर होते हैं, and that is how these are trained.
ये तो मतलब in a way language होगी, textual language.
Right.
Things like audio, video, how are those different?
Yeah, so audio video also is a very similar aspect कि जैसे कि टेक्स्ट के अंदर हमारे को कुछ पैटर्न्स दिखते हैं कॉमन, इमेजेस के अंदर भी कुछ पैटर्न्स कॉमनली दिखते हैं. तो ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स आजकल जैसे ये जो चैट GPT वगैरह ये सब दीज आर कॉल्ड ट्रांसफॉर्मर मॉडल्स. सो ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर में जैसे कि हमने टेक्स्ट की एक वोकैबुलरी डिसाइड करी है, वैसे ही हम इमेजेस और ऑडियो की भी वोकैबुलरी डिसाइड कर सकते हैं. सो नाउ दीज वोकैबुलरी टोकन्स बिकम द इनपुट एंड एज वेल एज द आउटपुट. तो अगर मॉडल को बोला जाए कि एक ऑडियो, इट्स अ ऑडियो टू ऑडियो मॉडल, तो ऑडियो ही इनपुट जा रहा है which is chunked into these vocabulary tokens, and then it generates those vocabulary tokens some or the other as output. So when you play it together, तो वो audio will look like a audio that we are hearing right now.
Also we see like जैसे OpenAI का मॉडल है, they have different versions, like some are called कि ये smaller मॉडल है, ये बड़ा मॉडल है.
Right.
तो उसमें क्या डिफरेंस सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग डेटा का है कि जो बड़ा मॉडल है that is trained on large data, is that the only difference?
No, it's also about the model size. So data
model size in what sense?
So for example, अभी before 2020 2018 there were transformer models has been since long. It has been since 2016 2017. That was first when Google published the transformer model architecture. Now why is it that ChatGPT has picked up in the last 2-3 years? The key difference is कि ChatGPT के time पे they released a model and trained a model which is very big in parameters. So it was claimed to be around 100 billion parameter model at that time. So जो initial transformer models जो बनाते थे लोग, those were smaller models, maybe 500 million, 25 million, these kind of smaller size models. Now one observation from scientists in this aspect is there is a law of scalability. The bigger your model is and the bigger your training data size is, the better your model will be in predicting or improving at this reasoning task and communication task. So that is where ChatGPT came in. उनका first model था GPT 3.5 or GPT 3. That is where they actually went about training 100 billion plus model. We don't know exact numbers क्या थे क्योंकि they never release it because it's closed source. But that is where they trained on large internet data. That's one. And then they had a bigger model also. Now to your original question of smaller or bigger में क्या फर्क होता है? तो one is data set size. I would say data set size तो same रख सकते हैं. That's not a concern. It's more about the model size itself. So if you use 100 billion model, parameter model.
Parameter exactly क्या होता है parameter?
These are basically the neurons or the model weights.
अच्छा.
So how to say? So जैसे brain में neurons हैं, there are these artificial neurons. And these are called parameters. Like इनके एक weight होता है इनका. So it's a mathematical operation actually.
मतलब एक छोटा मॉडल मतलब कम समझदार आदमी, ज़्यादा समझदार आदमी.
Can be said in that way.
In a way कि I'm just quoting it like that, but
correct. So for example एक dog का brain जो है वो size में छोटा होगा, उसमें parameters कम होंगे. The weight functions is slightly different. बड़े elephant के अंदर it will be a bigger brain, might be much more intelligent. So that is where it is. And then there are new approaches actually coming in these days where scientists are actually exploring कि कैसे हम बड़े model की learning छोटे में डाल सकते हैं. So these are called student teacher models. तो जैसे for example OpenAI ने एक बहुत बड़ा 500 billion parameters का model बनाया. Now they want this they are quoting as GPT-4o, let's say. they want to also create a GPT-4o mini model.
ओके
मिनी मॉडल का फ़ायदा क्या है? इट विल बी फास्टर, क्योंकि वो छोटा मॉडल है, इट कैन रन फास्टर. सो टाइम कम लगेगा, कॉस्ट कम लगेगा उसको GPUs पे चलाने का, क्योंकि इट्स अ स्मॉलर मॉडल. And because there are millions and billions of people using these features, they want to serve the customers faster. That is where छोटा मॉडल is better.
और वो बना कैसे छोटा मॉडल बड़े मॉडल को यूज करके?
हाँ, so
In a way.
that's what. So how they go about it is they actually initialize a random weights model जो कि छोटा size का है, and उसके अंदर they might do the same kind of pre-training and everything with the whole data set.
हाँ
But then on top of that, what they do is something called as distillation. So distillation का मतलब क्या हुआ कि जो बड़ा मॉडल को जो भी आउटपुट्स आते हैं, can I give the same outputs to the same smaller model? So for example, if the output is the sun rises from, and दोनों मॉडल्स को ये आउटपुट दिया, तो बड़े मॉडल ने ईस्ट बोला, छोटे मॉडल ने वेस्ट बोला. तो अब ये डिस्क्रिपेंसी आई, तो यहाँ पे फाइन ट्यूनिंग के टाइम पे छोटे मॉडल के अंदर बताया जाता है कि this should have been your correct output, whereas this is your output. So now learn from
okay.
it. So because you do that same distillation process, you are actually making it mimic the bigger model as an output. तो जैसे कि for example, अगर मेरे को अमिताभ बच्चन जैसा एक्टिंग करना है, तो I would try to mimic what he says, the dialogue that he says, and that way I might be able to give a voiceover for his movies if required, right? So that is what this is like. It's a student teacher model. जो student है वो सीखता है teacher से, and that is where the smaller models also become as good as the bigger models. It cannot be perfectly replicated because in the end of the day, what we have seen so far is कि model weights का फर्क पड़ता है, but by large it is able to learn. It's like a copycat, so it is able to copy the behavior of a larger model also.
एंड आई रिमेम्बर कि पहले जो कुछ मॉडल्स आए थे देवर लाइक कि ये सिर्फ टेक्स्ट पर ही ऑपरेट करता है, इट इज टेक्स्ट ओनली मॉडल.
Right.
फिर आई थिंक इट वाज गूगल जेमिनी और समथिंग व्हिच रिलीज दैट मॉडल की इट कैन जनरेट टेक्स्ट फ्रॉम videos, it can मतलब and vice versa also, from video from text and all. I think वो गूगल का था ना एक,
Google Gemini.
गूगल का ही वो इंट्रो वीडियो थी which they marketed like that.
Right.
So how what goes into that, like how are they different from text model? मतलब उसको कैसे ट्रेन करते हैं जब आपके पास बहुत अलग अलग तरह के डेटा है?
Exactly. So जैसा कि हमारे पास में टेक्स्ट डेटा था, पेटाबाइट्स ऑफ डेटा, नाउ यू एक्चुअली इंट्रोड्यूस इमेजेस आल्सो इनटू इट. तो टेक्स्ट सीक्वेंस के साथ में इमेजेस भी हैं. यू हैव दिस होल इंटरनेट डेटा इन विच यू वांट टू acquire different modalities मतलब images, text, videos, all these things. Now जो हमने vocabulary वाला चीज़ देखा था, just like text, you can have image का vocabulary also and audio का vocabulary also. So all these now become your complete set of vocabulary for the model. तो ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स में सिर्फ टेक्स्ट की vocabulary ना देके, if you append the image vocabulary also and the video, मतलब video is same as sequence of images, तो उसको let's say we don't make it different, but images रखी, audio भी रखा, and this is now your complete vocabulary size of the model. Then you can fine tune or pre-train it with the same behavior कि text दिया और output होना चाहिए image, तो you fine tune it to predict the image वाले tokens, and that's how it will generate the images. So that's at a very high level. There might be interesting techniques that they have applied to actually optimize these models further, but by large it's the same thing. Get a very big ass data set in which you have whole internet data, in which you are now also adding images and other things, and then you fine tune on top of that.
सही है. Let's also talk about कि as an applied scientist, what does your day look like? मतलब क्या करते हो आप लोग?
Yeah. So in research community or in industry, there are different kind of facets of job roles. So then there are, for example, applied scientists. You would have also heard of research scientist as one role, data scientist. So one quick question is like, क्या difference है इनके अंदर? So as an applied scientist, the objective is कि you are doing research, but you also want to apply the research that you are doing into the industry. So the objective does not stop at the research itself, but rather you are applying whatever research you have done into industry to put it into production and help customers improve basically the overall platform. So for example, from a research scientist perspective, research scientist का role होगा कि मेरे को research करनी है which extends or raises the bar कि जो हमारा previous state of the art model था उसके ऊपर मैंने 5% इम्प्रूवमेंट दिया एक्यूरेसी के अंदर, एंड दैट इज द रिसर्च. बट if you think about it now, that model which gives a 5% accuracy might be, let's say, 100 billion model, 100 billion parameters more. तो उसका cost of serving भी ज़्यादा हो गया, उसमें time भी ज़्यादा लगेगा. Now would you want to put a model which is much more costlier, much more also bigger in size, to put into production and use it for just that 5% accuracy? Maybe not. That is where applied scientists also have to think backwards from, how can I apply this research into production? So when I am researching on something, I would actually also look from the perspective of कि क्या ये research when I go about putting it in production will actually be helpful. So when I am getting that 5% gain, I would also be taking into consideration the constraints of the production aspect कि model इतना ही बड़ा हो सकता है, all those things. And that is where it becomes much more closer to the customers also. So as an applied scientist, whatever research we are doing, we are trying to solve a customer problem, and उस customer problem को solve करने के लिए we are trying to come up with new ideas and new research around it.
Also, how does the research process go into? मतलब how do you actually figure out कि this is the thing that you want to solve, or and you also have an idea कि solve हो भी जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं है, हो सकता है हो ही ना.
Right.
Like what exactly goes into research?
Yeah, that's a good question. So generally हम उस according जाते हैं कि first of all it's about the knowledge. तो the more you read, the more you acquire कि industry में क्या हो रहा है. And it's not like you are jumping leaps and bounds ahead. तो जो पुराने research papers रहे होंगे, उन्हीं के ऊपर incrementally improvements होते हैं. कुछ there are absolutely great improvements also, but in general there are incremental improvements on the previous work. So basically वो एक phrase है ना कि you work on the shoulders of the giants, कि you are actually learning from what people have done in the past. So that's the same thing about research also in pretty much every industry, that it's not like कि हमने electricity bulb बनाया and that's the invention. उससे पहले इन्वेंशन कॉपर वायर का भी हुआ था, उससे पहले इन्वेंशन ग्लास का भी हुआ था. ऑल दोज थिंग्स कम एंड उसके ऊपर वो इन्वेंशन बनाए. सो सिमिलरली इन दिस केस ऑल्सो दैट्स द सेम लॉजिक कि जब कोई प्रॉब्लम हमारे सामने आती है, सम रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम और सम कस्टमर प्रॉब्लम की ये सॉल्व करना है, वी नो दैट वी हैव रेड सम कंटेंट अराउंड इट. कुछ लिटरेचर सर्वे करते हैं कि पहले इसके ऊपर क्या प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करी गई है, कैसे इस चीज़ को सॉल्व किया गया है.
And do you have like a resource for all of that? मतलब वो कहाँ से, how do you figure out? क्योंकि I'm assuming कि बहुत ज़्यादा research होती है throughout the world. How do you figure out कि ये मेरे काम की चीज़ है? Like, where is all of
you
that?
cannot pretty much keep track of everything in the world. So generally ये होता है कि you would try to follow some blog post or some YouTube channels or something around that, जिससे कि you stay up to date to that particular segment. So for example, if I am working as a natural language processing expert या फिर chat GPT related, I will only be looking at things और research papers जो कि उस डोमेन में हैं. तो जैसे डीप सीक रिसर्च का पेपर आया तो मैंने उसका पेपर पढ़ा, बट देयर वुड ऑल्सो बी अ पेपर ऑन इमेज जनरेशन जो कि लोग बाग डाल रहे हैं. दैट्स नॉट इन माई डोमेन, सो आई माइट नॉट रीड इट. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट in what domain are you working, and then you try to focus around that. So whenever कोई नया problem statement आता है, you actually go about searching that problem statement and then उसके around आप papers देखते हो, उनको पढ़ते हो. You cannot capture everything in the world, but generally what happens is the good quality papers will always come on top because of citations and other things. So it's all about a community of things, right? So it's the principle of numbers कि जो भी चीज़ पॉपुलर होगी वो ऑटोमेटिकली बबल अप करके ऊपर आ जाएगी. तो अगर कोई पेपर बहुत अच्छा है, इट्स वेरी कॉमन, इट्स वर्किंग वेरी वेल, it will get more citations, and when you search about that particular topic, that paper
Citations
will come.
is what exactly? That people kind of +1.
Yeah, so when I am writing a paper, मैंने कोई पिछले papers भी cite किए होंगे या लिखे होंगे कि previously this is the work that has been done in this domain. So while writing my paper,
So you kind of refer to
yes,
it.
we refer to it. So there is an introduction section कि पहले इस industry में इस चीज़ के ऊपर क्या काम हुआ है. Basically, whoever is my reviewer, papers work in a peer-reviewed system. So when I write a paper and put it to a conference, there are reviewers who review my paper and say that this is a novel work. ये काफ़ी interesting work है. That is why this should be published. So इसके अंदर how would a reviewer know कि पहले क्या काम हुआ है, क्या चीज़ें अच्छी हैं, क्या नहीं हैं. That is where in your paper there is a structure. There is an introduction in which you define कि पहले इस industry में क्या काम हुआ है. Then you actually propose your method. Then you compare the benchmarks कि पहले के results XYZ थे, and now I am able to do better than the previous approach by so and so percentage.
Okay.
And that is where my novelty of my work is. So when you put that paper, that's how reviewers also read it. So whenever you're mentioning a different paper into yours, it becomes a citation for that paper, and that is how it gets more and more citations, and it gets popular
And
because
do you have to find publishers? किस publishing किस तरह से होती है?
so there are many different conferences that are there in research industry. So some of them, like for example NACL, a North American ACL conferences are there. So empirical methods of natural language processing, EMNLP. There is AAAI, NeurIPS. So there are different conferences which are held. There are organizers. It's like a community which comes together and has this conference every year, and then you can put your papers into it. Then it's all community driven. So for
Yeah.
example, I am also a reviewer in ACL, and I can also be a reviewer in EMNLP and NACL. So in conferences में जब कोई papers publish करते हैं, I also become a reviewer and review those papers and give ratings and how that paper is it novel or not. So it's a peer reviewed system, and that's how these publications happen, and then you actually get to attend these conferences also if your paper gets published.
Right. So it's purely community driven. You are saying it's not कि government की involvement है, or even are companies involved?
There are. So for example, there will be
No,
sponsors.
I mean in terms of like owning an organization. The sponsorship is fine, but it's not like some company owns some some of these communities and all. That
Yeah.
happens.
I'm not sure. Again, I don't know about that. So generally जो popular और ये होते हैं, ACL is an organization only. So ACL organization hosts these conferences. So
अच्छा.
ACL ने एक किया, तो NACL is a version of it, North American version of ACL. तो all these conferences are associated with this organization. Then there is NeurIPS, which is different organization altogether जो कि ये host कर रही है. Now, how do they get the funding? Is because there are different companies such as Amazon, Google. All these companies actually become platinum or diamond sponsors of these conferences, जहाँ पे they are providing funding, and it's a win-win situation for everybody because top talent is going to come there in these conferences to present their work, and these companies are also there too because they are sponsors, so they get a booth. So now these top talents are going to come to their booths, and अगर कोई open positions हैं, कोई interviews हैं, that's where you can actually talk to them and get more opportunities about your next job or whatever next hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think of, let's say if someone wants to enter this area as a research scientist or an applied scientist, what key advice do you have? कि क्या करना चाहिए उसको?
Yeah, I have like a whole video recently created around this, like how to learn machine learning and how I would have done it in 2025. But to summarize it, it's basically, one is you need to know some bit of coding. And for that, Python is like the best thing to start with because machine learning, most of the libraries and frameworks are supported around Python. Then there should be a mathematical understanding of stuff. So linear algebra, calculus, derivatives. Because जैसे मैंने gradient descent as an algorithm बताया, at the simplest level, it's basically a sequence of mathematical operations where you are finding derivatives, and उन derivatives की वजह से you are optimizing the model weights. So having a slight good understanding of these topics also helps in understanding कि model के अंदर क्या हो रहा है. And then you actually go about learning about these things. So one of the key aspects is reading these research papers, actually trying to implement what previous research papers have done. From afar, it might look कि बहुत hard है, but if you go slow and you do these things regularly, you make toy projects. तो जैसे अगर कोई image classifier है, cats versus dogs. Now you have a data set of cats and dogs, and your model has to predict whether this image is of a cat or a dog. It's a very simple toy project. If you do these things, you get to learn कि कैसे model को code लिखा जाता है training के लिए, कैसे model trains होते हैं, and what are the different techniques to improve a model. So you actually go about reading through the papers, implementing them, and then it's an ever learning process. Even today, as of today, it's not like my learning has finished because now I am an applied scientist at Amazon. I go about reading papers every now and then. There are new topics coming in. It always helps me learn. and to push my boundaries as well. So it's a ever learning process. But for somebody to be in a research domain, these are the basic foundations of it. Then having a degree in computer science or having a master's or PhD would definitely help or boost up to give you an edge, because it's a very
Yeah.
competitive space as well.
Yes.
So it gives you a platform from where you will have the visibility. But it's not a mandatory thing. Again, I have seen many talented folks who come from a non-CS background also, and then they learn about these things and they have a good portfolio of projects to showcase to their recruiters, and uski wajah se they are able to get hired. So it's all about the skill, I would say.
Yeah. Interesting. Also, as an applied scientist, because you actually have skin in the game, और कई सारे लोग ये बात करते हैं, आई एम श्योर आपने सुना होगा ऑब्वियसली, कि यू नो हाउ एआई इज गोइंग टू टेक द जॉब. बहुत छोटी लो लेवल की चीज़ें ऑटोमेट हो जाएंगी, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग नहीं रहेगी, यू नो क्रिएटिव्स का काम नहीं रहेगा, ऑल ऑफ दिस इज गोइंग टू बी ऑटोमेटेड. लाइक व्हाट डू यू थिंक, हाउ मच ऑफ इट इज अ हाइप एंड हाउ मच इन एक्चुअल इट इज ट्रू?
The more I see these models, I feel it is actually going to be true. But why I say that is ki these models are getting better every day. But the only aspect is that a person who is not using AI will get obsolete first than a person who is actually incorporating AI in their daily lives. So for example, मैंने बताया कि अगर मेरे को कोई चैट वेबसाइट बनानी है, आई कैन क्विकली आस्क चैट जीपीटी और क्लॉड एंड गेट माई वेबसाइट टेम्पलेट. नाउ उस चीज़ को करने में मुझे मे बी 5 मिनट लगे, बट इफ़ आई वर टू डू इट विदाउट चैट जीपीटी आई माइट बी टेकिंग अ डे और 2. वहीं पे आई गॉट स्लोड डाउन. So somebody who is using these tools, incorporating that into their daily lives, even as a content creator. So if I have to write a YouTube script about some video, I will be able to work much faster on my idea using a large language model or a machine learning model than to write my script from scratch. So that gives me a base to improve upon and actually work around. So these models are actually getting better day by day. There are claims from different CEOs of Anthropic and other places where they are saying that coding will be obsolete by 2027.
Yeah.
and
Recently,
stuff
I
like
think that
Yeah,
he spoke that somewhere.
exactly. So the reason around that is these models are getting very good by the day. And क्योंकि internet पे ही है सारा coding वाला data, you can easily make them learn it. And every generation of model which gets better helps making the next generation of the models even better, because these models can now be used to create more data set,
Yeah.
better quality data set. And that is where these models are improving. Agentic capabilities are रही हैं. You are able to incorporate it into different workflows and create things around it. But there is an element of human creativity that is always there. So while these models can do something, to say that will it completely eradicate it, I don't think so. There will be a scope of humans actually using and leveraging these tools to make bigger things. तो जहाँ पहले आज से 3-4 साल पहले हम कुछ प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट सॉल्व कर रहे थे जो कि वर मच सिंपलर, बट नाउ वी आर एबल टू वर्क बियॉन्ड दैट. नाउ वी आर एबल टू वर्क इवन एफिशिएंटली एंड आर ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व बिगर प्रॉब्लम्स. तो क्योंकि ये लार्ज लैंग्वेज मॉडल्स ने पुरानी प्रॉब्लम्स को ऑब्सोलीट बना दिया है, दे आर ईजी टू सॉल्व, सो वी टेक देम फॉर ग्रांटेड एंड नाउ वी आर एक्चुअली वर्किंग ऑन बिगर प्रॉब्लम्स टू सॉल्व फॉर. तो इट्स ऑलवेज द स्काई इज द लिमिट वाली चीज़ है कि वाइल some domains and things will go away, there will be new opportunities created due to it. And what humans have that power is to be resilient on these things, that they are always coming up on top and adapting to it. So that's what the spirit
Yeah,
should
you
be.
are right in that sense ki, you know, you need to constantly use the latest tools.
Yeah.
Otherwise you will get left behind and all of that.
Exactly.
But I also want to know in terms of things like, I think we call that as AGI or something like
Artificial general
that.
intelligence. Yeah.
Which is actually, you know, what they are saying कि ये true general intelligence है. Like it's not something जो कि एक ही कोई यूज के सॉल्व करेगी या एक ही चीज को सॉल्व कर सकती है. Like it's actually a replacement for a human, if you have to say that.
Right.
So how far we are from that? What do you think?
Yeah, different people have their own timelines around it. Some say it's going to come in the next 2-3 years. Some say it will take 10 years or more, or it's not even possible. Um,
डू यू थिंक इट इज पॉसिबल इन अ वे कि
To-
इतनी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी को
hmm,
आई मीन यू एम्बेड इन अ पीस ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी
yeah.
एक्चुअली हो सकता है
I feel somewhere yes. So even today, the kind of problems that large language models are able to solve, 3 years back, I wouldn't have thought ki these were possible to be solved in such short amount of time. So it's an exponential curve जहाँ पे growth जो है वो linear नहीं है. हर दिन double triple चीज़ें अच्छी होती जा रही हैं. And that is where this technology itself is evolving at a rapid pace. So we might be able to solve it. If Transformers is the technology or something else, I'm not sure. But the way it looks, and also the aspect of जो चीज़ें हमें 5 साल पहले बहुत हार्ड लगती थी, इम्पॉसिबल टू सॉल्व लगती थी, आज वो सॉल्व हो रही हैं. दैट इट सेल्फ इज अ मैजिकल थिंग टू सी. That if I ask a Claude model to write a complete project for me, it will actually do the job of doing that whole thing, starting, initiating the files, writing the code into it, testing it, then deploying it, seeing कि output कैसा आ रहा है. So all these things are possible through different systems which are created around these technologies, and that
Okay.
itself, I mean, it's so amazing to see. So the definition by large of artificial general intelligence is that it is as good as a human. But humans also have different varying set of skills.
human
And
has flaws
exactly. So that is where it's more about what all it can solve as of today. If it is able to even do 80% of the jobs that humans are able to do, I would say that's as close to AGI as you can be, and then you can reach to the next level. So
क्योंकि मतलब
yeah.
we could literally have a moment 10 years down the line कि we have this new great poet who is not an actual human but
Yeah.
you know a piece of technology
Absolutely.
or this next great you know writer
Yeah, it's happening even now. It's not a 10 years down the line thing. Ki there are, in fact, there was last week itself a research paper published that was completely written by AI,
Okay.
and it was sent to a top tier peer reviewed conference, and it got accepted there.
so it was a novel work that AI was able to do
I don't know the details about that कि उस paper में क्या चीज़ बताई गई थी, whether it is novel or something, but yes, it was peer reviewed and it got good feedback from the reviewers. So
आई
am
थिंक
assuming-
इट इज पॉसिबल क्योंकि
Yeah.
हम जनरली बात करते हैं कि इंसान ही वो है जो ओरिजिनलिटी क्रिएट कर सकता है बट इफ यू लुक एट इट लाइक ओरिजिनल क्या है कोई भी चीज ओरिजिनल तो नहीं है ना इन अ वे हम तो नॉलेज को यूज करके रिसाइकिल कर रहे हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी कैन डू इट एट स्केल
right.
तो डेफिनेटली आई थिंक इट इज क्वाइट वेरी मच पॉसिबल
Yeah.
what might not be automated is something like you know manual work yeah things which actually involve a lot of physical things you know
That's also something to
but it's hard Would
yeah
you say
it is
that?
it is hard. So अभी ज़्यादा easy, पहले क्या सोचा जाता था कि ज़्यादा हार्ड होगा कोडिंग वाली चीज़ें सॉल्व करना जो लॉजिकल हैं जो ब्रेन
हाँ.
ऑक्यूपाई करती हैं, बट दैट इज नाउ गेटिंग सॉल्व फास्टर. द रीजन फॉर दैट इज देयर इज एन अबंडेंस ऑफ डेटा अराउंड इट. क्योंकि सॉफ्टवेयर डेटा है, ऑनलाइन इंटरनेट पे डेटा है, यू आर एबल टू ट्रेन दीज थिंग्स, these large language models with large enough of data to learn from. So the hypothesis is जब हमारे पास में data होगा enough, then you will be able to train something or some model around it and it will work very well. तो that is why coding and ये सारे task पहले जल्दी solve हो रहे हैं अभी, writing coding वाले. When you say about manual labor task जहाँ पे physical effort भी चाहिए, that's where robotics comes in. So there you will see Nvidia is launching their own robots. There is a Tesla robot
Elon
also.
Musk launched I think one.
Yeah, they also launched like Tesla robot, which is I don't think it's out in the commercial yet, but they are planning to do so. So all these things are again going to actually, first you are going to solve these simpler coding jobs. I wouldn't say simpler in terms of effort and brain, but yeah, it is simple in terms of there is no manual labor or human effort required in terms of muscle
coding
power.
and all can be automated in a way.
Yes, it is
ये तो
pretty
बड़े
much
सारे
automated.
सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स को बुरा लग जाएगा यार.
That's
You
already
also-
solved. I mean, if you go use these ChatGPT and all, it will write a better code than like 70-80% of the coders can do as of today. So you have to accept that. And most of the times, it's not even about coding, right? I mean, it's not about writing the most beautiful piece of code. इट्स अबाउट द आइडिया. तो जो स्टार्टअप्स हैं जो भी चलते हैं, इंस्टाग्राम, राइट? इंस्टाग्राम इज अ कोड, पीस ऑफ कोड इन द बैक एंड. इट्स नॉट द कोड दैट इज मेकिंग इट ब्यूटिफुल. इट्स एक्चुअली द आइडिया कि एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जहाँ पे लोग अपने फोटोज डाल सकते हैं, दे कैन लाइक, शेयर. इट्स अ सोशल मीडिया. सो दैट आइडिया itself is the creative part which is actually hooking people to it.
Yeah.
So that is where coding is just a tool which enables you to do it. So AI will also become like a tool which enables you to expand your ideas and try something very quickly. Um, so manual wale work bhi, if robotics kicks in and this AI improves over time, it will learn these things also, maybe in simulated environments where it can learn it and then apply it in real world. And that is where it wouldn't be far away from that perspective also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel all of this will happen eventually. Only thing which I feel can stop is something like government regulating a lot of things. Is that happening? क्या अभी regulations शुरू हो गई हैं?
Yes, there are a lot of regulations that each of the different global governments are doing. So US also is closely observing कि क्या हो रहा है, how is this space evolving. Similarly, China has some restrictions. So in fact, when this DeepSeek model released, one of the good things about it was that it was trained with very cheap resources.
हाँ. I think
GPUs
only one guy did it. Was it something like that? कि
there were multiple folks involved, but it was more like Nvidia makes these GPUs which are very huge and very powerful also, but US has put up regulations that Nvidia cannot export these GPUs to outside countries. So that is where, because they don't want China to make these big ass models
Yeah.
which are very powerful. It's all AI powered. So whoever has this artificial general intelligence, so to say, or intelligence in general, that will become the next big country or the monopoly in the world. So that is where US doesn't want to give these GPUs. So the DeepSeek Chinese company actually used smaller, lower quality GPUs also to actually train a model which is as good as ChatGPT.
But they were able to do that.
Yeah, they were able to do that. So that's the creativity aspect of how they went about doing it with less resources and at a fraction of a cost of what an OpenAI model would have taken. I might be quoting the wrong numbers, but it is like 100, 600 times cheaper than what OpenAI uses to train their models. They were able to do a much better job at it. Again, I might be wrong at the 600 quote, but it is a substantially less
Considering
amount.
that, do you think like this Nvidia tech bubble that everyone is going to use GPUs and so Nvidia is in a very good position? Is that sort of a bubble then? Because you are able to train इतने बड़े models with smaller compute also, with smaller computation resources.
Right.
So is it sort of a hype?
I don't think so personally, because if you see the past trends, how things have evolved. पहले हमारे पास में छोटे बड़े बड़े प्रोसेसर्स होते थे which were able to do a calculator like job. Super computers होते थे which were doing some normal calculations. When you actually reduced the space from a big office or room which was all computers to a small laptop, now you are able to do much more with it. So जब हमारे पास scaling laws चल रहे हैं and the underlying technology is becoming cheaper, the hardware is becoming cheaper, what you do is not to stop there and think कि हाँ अब सब लोग इस level पे काम करेंगे, but rather you use the next big possible technology to actually scale up your models. So for example, आज से 5-6 साल पहले, if you were to ask, I wouldn't say 5 साल, let's say 10 साल पहले, GPUs were not as good जितने कि आज अच्छे हैं. उस टाइम पे if you were to think कि you will be training a 600 billion parameter model, it would be bonkers. You wouldn't be thinking about it. But today people are training it because the GPUs have improved. It's not like people stopped there itself. So whenever there are new technologies coming up, new resources or hardware technologies coming up which NVIDIA is working on, people use it to actually train bigger size, go even bigger. And
So you're
see.
saying more complex ways of training and operating models will come.
Absolutely. And that's where it wouldn't be a bubble, because there will be new things to try out and people will be more than happy to try it out.
Is there any some specific area? I'm sure मतलब आप तो you obviously look into what's new in AI, but any specific area that you are personally interested in?
Yeah,
कि यार ये बड़ी कमाल की चीज़ है, ये इसने तो मेरे को शॉक में डाल दिया.
So this whole generative AI thing itself is like super amazing, and there are so many things to explore. what has come recently is ये reinforcement learning, where we are able to provide reasoning to these models. So there is a lot of scope in this particular field ki it's all about how can we reduce the human effort. कि मैं human use ना करके how can I still generate good quality data set, and that is what determines कि हम कितना अच्छा उस model को कर सकते हैं. So all those automations, finding out ways to improve these models in an automated way, unsupervised manner, is what is the next frontier and which will we go with.
Unsupervised क्या है ये? I've heard this term quite a lot. What exactly is it?
So supervised and unsupervised, there are these two kind of training methodologies. Supervised में क्या होता है? You have some labeled data set to show with.
अच्छा.
So for example, मैंने cats versus dogs वाला बोला था. तो जब कोई image है, image X, उसके करस्पॉन्डिंग मेरे पास में एक लेबल है कि दिस इज अ कैट. सिमिलरली डॉग की इमेज है, दिस इज अ डॉग. तो आई नीड टू हैव दिस डेटा सेट. इस डेटा सेट के ऊपर मैं ट्रेन करूंगा मॉडल को, इमेज फीड करूंगा, इट विल प्रेडिक्ट कैट और डॉग, एंड देन आई विल से कि इट वाज अ कैट, इट वाज अ डॉग, एंड देन फाइन ट्यून द मॉडल. तो दिस इज कॉल्ड सुपरवाइज्ड. अनसुपरवाइज्ड में यू डोंट हैव द फाइनल लेबल्स, यू जस्ट हैव द इमेजेस. अब इमेजेस को देख के वो मॉडल कैसे समझेगा कि ये कैट है या फिर डॉग है? दैट इज वेयर the aspect of unsupervised learning comes in. So for example, and then there is a intermediate term which is called semi-supervised. So for example, जैसे internet का data है. Now internet का data को directly use करना it's not possible, but how they go about doing it is एक आधा sentence दिया, आधा sentence देके उसका next word predict करने को बोला. Now that you have abundance कि sentences बहुत सारे हैं, you chop it from anywhere and you ask it to predict the next word, then next word, then next word. So this is called semi-supervised because you have this large amounts of data. You can fine-tune the model to predict the next word, and you can make it learn from it. So that is where this unsupervised aspect comes in. क्योंकि we are not asking any auditor or human labeler to sit and type कि next word क्या होगा. The data is already there, and you can leverage it. So that is where you can scale big and actually go about learning.
Yeah, I think I mean a lot of people nowadays say, especially in terms of career, ki software engineering is gone in a way. Like a lot of people have turned to AI and all of that coming forth. So yeah, that's quite interesting in that sense.
I think software developers also आजकल use कर रहे हैं AI technology. You don't have to be a scientist or a researcher to understand these things. You need to know some basic things. You need to know कि ये tools कैसे काम करती हैं. How can I leverage it in my workflow? And that is where you can make wonders.
It's more of like, I think कोई भी जब technology evolve होती है, it goes from that stage of where only a very dedicated community is working on it to actual consumers जो कोई भी use कर पाएं, जो easily use कर पाएं. It comes to that application layer,
right,
or application level you can say.
Right.
So I really think, and obviously it is in that state right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
टाइम निकालने के लिए.
Thank you for having
ये
me.
मैं आपका फ्राइडे बर्बाद कर रहा हूँ, बट
no,
thanks so
having
much.
Me. Thank you.